Most health coaches I speak to have invested thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, into certifications and business training, and they still don't have consistent clients. Jen was one of them. She'd spent over $60,000 trying to make this work, and nothing was working. Fast forward just 8 months, she's now earned over $80,000, had a 9K day, and is on track to six figures. And here's the best part, she's not even a traditional health coach, she's an energy healer. So if you've ever thought this won't work for my niche, you're going to want to hear this. I can't wait for people to hear your story, Jen. So many people tune in because they want to see, like, how do you become a six-figure health coach, and what does that look like? And we like to talk to people at different phases. And so sometimes people are already way over there, or sometimes they're at the beginning, and you're on the cusp, and you're on the cusp. And so you're like right there. This is exactly what it looks like. But that's not the only reason I want people to hear from you. And how did you do this? And what did you do? But because of who you help and what you do, not really a traditional health coach per se, and yet absolutely transforming people's health. And I'm trying to find a way to say what it is that you do. And I'm going to bring that over to you. So tune in, guys. You are definitely going to be wanting to connect with this woman. Anybody who hears her wants to work with her. I'll just say, a lot of my clients have wanted to work with her. She's a powerhouse. She's amazing. The transformation that she's able to deliver, next level. And so, with that, Jen Fedorowicz, welcome, welcome. I can't wait for you to share your brilliance.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, tell people what it is it that you do, who do you help, and then we're gonna like rewind to like how did you get here?
Okay, sure. I'm an energy healer. I'm a transformational spiritual coach, I guess is the way I like to say it. And mostly I help women who feel like life is hard or there has to be something more. They look on the outside like they have it all together, but inside they have anxiety and exhaustion and a lot of emotional pain just from life. And so we clear that and help them to really figure out and find out who they really are, awaken to knowing who they really are.
Yeah, I love that. And we're going to dive into some specific examples as we go. I don't know what they are, but I know you have so many examples, even from your website. And so I imagine you weren't always into energy healing. And tell us, like, what had you get into this line of work? And then we'll talk about how did you start to actually
Yeah.
help people more in a way that aligned with you.
Yeah, sure. I was one of those people that everybody thought had it all together on the outside, and I was overwhelmed and exhausted and very self-confident. No, self-conscious, excuse
Yes,
me.
yes.
I lacked self-confidence. I was really insecure. I was a school teacher, and to begin, that's how I started my career as an elementary school teacher. And I was really just a stressed out person, and I started to do yoga. Someone suggested I try a yoga class. And yoga started to change my life. Just quieting myself, learning to be still and to tune in really changed me. And that led, I won't tell you the whole story, but that led me to being so interested in energy work. I had a Reiki situation when I was in yoga. I had an experience with Reiki. One of my yoga teachers said she was going to clear some chakras, and
Yeah.
I, as the skeptic, was like, "You're going to do what?"
Yeah.
And she did Reiki on me, and she said my second chakra was totally blocked, which is holds our emotion, that second chakra. And when she cleared that, I burst into tears, and it was as if a gallon of purple paint had been poured into my brain. I'd never seen color before in my mind, and that experience changed me right away because now I believed in energy and healing in those kind of ways. So
Yeah.
I dove deep into studying energy healing, consciousness, and really who we are as these amazing divine beings with so much power flowing through us.
Yeah. And I think it helps to have your own personal experience that you're like, I cannot deny this. Like, yeah, this is real. And so, okay, so there you are, and you're like, okay, this is interesting. This works. There's some validity. It's helped me. It's helped me with my stress. It's helped me be more confident, more in alignment with who we are, and you're diving deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. And and then when did you transition over to helping, like not just yourself with it, but wanting to help others
Mhm.
with energy healing and so on?
Well, I quit teaching when my children, I have two boys who are 10 years apart. So I quit teaching when they were 4 and 14 because I realized both those ages need their mom at home.
Yes, true.
And so I stayed home and for a little while and was just studying and being with my kids. And then I ended up opening a yoga studio. So even, which was very surprising to me, being the insecure person I was, I thought, how am I going to do this? But my husband really encouraged me and I opened a yoga studio. So I started out really helping people in that way, teaching them yoga. And I was doing some energy healing. I had a little healing room in my studio, and people were coming to me for the energy healing, that which is emotional clearing that I do.
And so they came because yoga people are like, yep, I understand yoga, so they're like, I'm good with that. And they came there, and that was like where they were like, okay, what's happening over there? And what kind
Yeah.
of things were they coming for help with? Like um what were they wanting help through the energy healing, to what end? What were some of the things that we're looking for?
A lot of physical things, a lot of physical ailments, diseases, and
Hmm.
all kinds of physical back pain. A lot of people come for back pain. That's such an emotional thing that we hold on to. Some were coming for anxiety and just feeling overwhelmed with life and needing to have that sense of calm. They were getting it from yoga a little bit, but
Hmm.
not, it wasn't happening fast enough. So really all kinds of physical and emotional reasons that they would come for the energy healing.
Yeah. Oh,
Some and many came because they were curious.
yeah, and that's good, right? Like, and that's good. And it's like, and there's a reason why something has, tweaked their curiosity. And
Mhm.
so when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and there
Mhm.
you are, right? And so then you take them. And so this isn't like incredible. Like when we're fast forwarding through your life at lightning speed here. Like there's lots of
Uh-huh.
things that's bringing us up to where you were kind of when you met us. And so when you came to us at the Health Professional Academy, and it was under a year ago, it's not even been a year, and you're just like a rocket ship, actually, is what you are. And what were some of the things that you were struggling with your practice to get it up and running? And what were you looking for help with? And even share some things that you had tried, because I know like you've been doing this work for how long?
14 years.
Yeah. Okay. So then like that brings us to like a year ago. What were you looking for help with?
Well, I sold my studio in 2020 and moved to the beach. And all everything that happened in 2020, it was perfect that it ended up that way. And I said to my husband, I don't want to do that anymore. I only want to help people with this. My energy work led to coaching. People would come to me for energy clearing, for these emotional clearings. And I'm a teacher at heart. I've always been a teacher.
Yeah.
So I would be sharing things with them and explaining who they were as these big, divine, energetic beings. And so my energy sessions turned into coaching sessions. I didn't intend to be a coach, it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I just loved teaching them and seeing these transformations. So I decided I'm going to go out on my own and do this, from Zoom and try it
Yeah.
on my own. And I didn't get very many clients. I didn't know how to get clients. I'm
Yeah.
really good at what I do. I feel like I can help people to transform, but the business side of things, I didn't know where to start and how to attract clients. And
Hmm.
I had no idea how to do a sales call or any of that. So I did try many different things. I tried some coaches that were less expensive because I thought I should save money, which I've learned you get what you pay for. Um, I tried a lot of different like courses, some of the do it yourself courses where they
Yeah.
teach you all the tech and you got to figure out the back end of technology. And I wasted a lot of money
Yeah.
trying to figure it all out on my own.
Like about how much money?
is my husband going to watch this?
He doesn't have to watch it.
Like about $60,000.
Yeah, yeah. That's what we see. We see people, and if somebody's like just graduating today, they're like, "Oh, I would never do that." And like, you kind of do. It kind of adds up because you're searching,
Yeah.
you really want to do this work, and then you're just kind of like, "Okay, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to do?" And then and then if it worked, that's great. But if it's not working, like, oh, it's like painful and it's frustrating. And I always say, like, what I look for in people, because we don't just take anybody into the Health Professional Academy, but I look for people who have this burning desire, this fuel, like they will not be denied, like they want to do it so bad. And so you got the gas, you got the fuel, you just don't have a vehicle to put it into. And so then I know that we can create the vehicle so that you can, pour your passion into it. And it's designed in a way that won't burn you out, that you're not going to sacrifice your health or your family or your relationships for this, because that's not a really good trade. And that you don't need to do expensive paid ads, and you don't need to do social media hamster wheels. And then a lot of people out there is like, well, what else is there? How else do you build this? And so just like what you do when you're working with your clients, like when you're working with them on one area, as you release their unresolved emotions and you help them, get alignment with who they are, everything gets better, and they're not having to, like the latest weight loss drug, you might lose the weight, but you get all these side effects. When you get to the root cause, everything gets better. Same too when you have the right core business model. And so that the more that you do it, it just gets better and better and better. And so, yeah, so you were trying these things, it wasn't working. And so you were looking for well, a way to package, were you looking for a way to say what you did because it doesn't really fit in a box? Or were you feeling like you're misunderstood? Were you looking for someone with tech? What were like the things that you were like, yeah, this is what I need?
I feel, yes, I do feel like some of it was I didn't know how to share my message to attract the people that I knew that I could help. That was part of it. um, I thought, because I work with energy, and so I kept thinking, I'm going to figure this out because I
Yeah,
work with energy and
yeah,
we're creators and I can create this. Um, and I'd have, I'd get a few clients trickle in and unusual things, like someone would just out of the blue find me on social media. I hadn't done an ad or anything. And so I would get a few clients, but it wasn't consistent. And and I realized it doesn't matter how much energy work I do if I don't understand the business model and how
yeah,
that actually works.
yeah,
Then I'm probably still going to be pulling straws. And so
yeah,
your business model changed things for me immediately, like
yeah.
really immediately, when I started to understand how things work. And I feel like having the energy alignment with that, I feel like that helped, but I didn't know what to do until I knew what to do.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like a lot of times coaches have been, it's like a slingshot. You've been held back so long with so much pent up desire, so much real honest to goodness potential, that as soon as you have the track to run on and you have the vehicle to go, okay, all that fuel, we can channel it into something that's really productive. And that's exactly what happened, for you. Do you remember some of those early results that you had? Um, I, I kind of remember a little bit of those, but like in your first like 3 months or so, do you remember like how?
I mean, just to have those early results of just having a sales call with somebody, or a call two that you call it, right? And
Yeah,
going through all that, and then having them say, yeah, where do I sign up?
yeah,
Like the feeling of that is just amazing. And then I think that even grows the momentum. As soon as you start to have confidence that you can do this, then, I like to say the better it gets, the better it gets
yeah,
about everything in life.
absolutely. And I think let's share some numbers, if you will. You're still in your first year,
Mhm.
and you were just tallying them up, which is always a fun thing to do. And you were sharing on a call earlier. Where are we at so far with your practice?
So I'm just over $80,000.
Isn't
Right?
that
80,
awesome?
I think it's 81,000 that
Yeah.
since I've been with THPA.
And we know the business model and we know the plan. And so like you reaching 100,000 in your first year, zero doubt. Like
Mhm.
it's inevitable. It's a done deal. So we don't have to like, have anxiety about it. And you get to work with who you want, when you want, where you want, how you want. What is your favorite, what's been your favorite part of the Health Professional Academy so far?
Um, well, I love our weekly calls that really help me to understand this whole business model. And even though, I come to the calls every week and I feel like you teach us a lot of the same things in over and over, but in different ways. It's kind of, I feel like I do the same thing with my
Yeah,
coaching, right? You have
layers.
to
Yeah.
keep saying it and saying it
Yeah.
and going deeper and deeper. So every time I'm on a call, I'm taking notes and I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, I just got that, here I am 8 months in. I love the community. I love the people that I've met, and even hearing other people's questions,
Yeah,
right? So I learn so much when someone else asks a question and
absolutely.
I'm just observing the answer. I think sometimes you learn more than when you're asking the question and you're kind of on the hot seat.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a lot. It's a fun, it's just like it's fun for you to see your clients go from here to there. Like I just can't get enough of seeing people go from like 0 to 6 figures. Like that is like my favorite. It doesn't have to be only that, but like just seeing someone who's got so much potential but hasn't actually been able to like break
Mhm.
through, that just never gets old for me. And like I had to suffer through it the hard way, and just like you yourself, lack of self-confidence, being self-conscious. When you see, it's one thing when you get results, it's a whole other level of satisfaction when you help someone get results. It's just like, it's so fun, so good.
Yes.
If you're a health coach, and you're looking at how do I create my practice, I'm going to put a free copy of Six Figure Health Coach, but I'm also going to see if I can put together a little, your first client this week, exactly a checklist and what to send. I'll put that in the description as well. So just go ahead and grab it. I want to help more of you get your healing gifts out there, get on your way. And if you have an opportunity ever to come to one of our workshops that we do, um, where we can dive in and customize this information, like, you know, take me up on the offer is what I'll say. They're a great way to find out more about where you're at and where you're might be getting stuck. And so when you're doing this, when you're working with your clients, Jen, what is, I want people to really kind of, we have at our virtual retreats, that we have in the Health Professional Academy, we've had you speak a couple of times, and you're one of the crowd favorites, I'll just say. People love what you share. It just like they want to work with you. My clients want to work with you. Some of them do. Um, and so what are some of the things that, if you want to tap in and just share a little bit about when people are, maybe there's a woman out there who is, maybe they're a coach, maybe they're not, but they're frustrated, they feel stressed, they're exhausted, they can barely like make it through the day. um Outwardly they're like all buttoned up and put together and everybody thinks, oh yeah, she's fine, but you're like inside you're just crumbling, and they're watching. What do you feel like is the missing link for them? A lot of people say, oh, well, I guess you need more caffeine, or I guess you need some kind of energy. Maybe you need some Red Bull. And so when you're working with them, give us a little glimpse into what do you see as usually at the root cause of that, and give us an idea of what happens to transform them. And then we can even talk about some of the amazing results that you've had for people.
Sure. So everything's energy, right? Including us. This
Yeah.
entire universe is energetic. Everything's energy. And your life flows in reflection to how your energy is flowing. We haven't been taught that we're energetic beings, that, in science, it's the toric field or the Taurus man that is flowing energy. You can Google that and there's great pictures of it, right? But that energy is consciousness and it's information,
Mhm.
and it's meant to be flowing through our physical vessel. And when it is, we feel great and life feels great and it's easy and we're healing, and that we're made to naturally heal. We have that innate ability. But there's a lot of gunk that gets covering up that information, which is divine. I always like to say that we are divine. And the gunk is unresolved emotion and limiting beliefs and all the stuff that we got taught and took on from our families. And not to blame our parents because they didn't know any better, right? They did what they could do. Um, but we hold on to that energetically in our system.
Yeah.
So the energy healing that I do actually clears that emotion from your subconscious, which not everybody realizes that your whole body is your subconscious,
Mm-hmm.
right? The whole body holds that subconscious. So as we start clearing unresolved emotion or learning to change these limiting beliefs that we don't even realize we're holding on to. And a belief is just a thought that you continue to think, right?
Yep.
And I always say, don't believe everything you think,
Yes.
because I went through my life as a young woman, like having all these thoughts about this person and that person and what they thought about me, and like that constant ruminating in the mind. And I believed it all
Mm-hmm.
until I realized, and it's very much, if you're a meditator, then you would realize, that's becoming the observer in the background that says, wow, my mind never stops.
Mm-hmm.
And so I help a person to clear that emotion and to align their energy and learn how to really bring mind, body, and breath together.
Mm-hmm.
So there's three parts to us as these beings on the planet, right? We're in a human body, but we have a mind, we have a body, and we have the breath. And the breath is the source of your being. It is the consciousness. Consciousness rides on the breath through the body. I always say, the way you can think about that is when you take your last breath, that breath leaves the body, but you are infinite. You energy can't be created or destroyed. So you always have been and you always will be. And I just think that we just haven't been taught that. And so we're living with a personality and a mind in a body. We'd only pay attention to the body usually when we're upset about it because it hurts us or we don't like, the things we don't like about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and most of us haven't realized that who we really are is this spirit or soul breath moving through the body that has an intelligence and could help you out a lot if you had a relationship with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it and that is where it's such a quantum shift for people that they might have been trying a million things and getting nowhere, but we haven't really gotten down to the core essence of it. And we are just souls playing roles here in this little earth school, in this temporary, experience that we have here, this as my son in spirit says, this trip of a lifetime that we are on. We are the
Mhm.
dearly departed here,
Yeah.
and doing this, and then we will go back home, but it's like, we're here, make it good, make it good, and so enjoy it. And my little saying, be good for you. So like really discovering, what is that, what feels good, what do I like. And many of us have been living lives not that we wanted to live. Like, we were doing things because somebody else said we had to, and doing occupations or in relationships because of some other reason other than that's what you feel aligned to do. And I think now more than ever, we're at this moment in time where people are taking their power back, where they are, mass awakening. Like, they're like, wait a minute. No,
Yes.
that's not working for me anymore.
Mhm.
And I'm choosing a different path. And it really is helpful to have a guide on the side, which is where you come in, because like, to manage that. And sometimes those pains, the exhaustion is or the breakdown of the relationship or the whatever, uh, is the blessing in disguise. We have to kind of break down to break through sometimes. And it's like, okay, this is clearly not working. What else do I got in to
Yeah.
try? And unfortunately, you are almost certainly not their first go-to. Like, they will have tried a number of other things before they get to you, which doesn't matter. And there was learning in that. But I just,
May I say something about that?
yes,
I
yeah,
I have so many clients who've gone to therapy for years and say, "Oh my gosh, why didn't I find you 3 years ago? What we got through in 3 months took me years," or even some of them will say in the first 4 weeks. What we got through in the first 4 weeks, I couldn't get through in years. And that's not to diss therapists, because I know that therapy can be very beneficial. But if you get under the story and work
yeah,
with the energy,
yeah.
which is the root cause, then things can happen so much more quickly.
Yeah, it just like it's absolutely amazing. And I get the same thing. Like, why didn't I find you before I spent 60 grand or 100
Right.
grand? Where were you before? But it's all meant to be because now they know more clearly, what good looks like, if nothing else, because they have
Yeah.
something to compare to. Tell us about some client stories of that you've worked with them and maybe they came to you with one thing and then they got all of these other things that have transformed. Let's give some specifics, give people an idea of just like, some of the things people come to you for, and then the alchemy that happens through that experience that you take, that journey that you take them on.
Sure. One of my favorite stories, because she was a school teacher like me. When I first met her, she said, "How did you stop teaching school?" I taught for 15 years, and like you said, people expect you to do certain things. You're supposed to work until you're 65 and then get your retirement, right? Like you
Mm.
don't just stop doing that. You have a a job teaching, and I mean,
Yeah,
I sort of laugh at that because the cap on teaching for me back then was like 55,000 a year.
yeah,
But anyway, she wanted to be a personal trainer, and she wanted to quit teaching. And so um what I really taught her, though, was that she had to love her life so much. When you love what you're doing, then you can transform anything. So her last year of teaching was her best year of teaching.
yes.
And she didn't make, she was nowhere near retirement. I think she's 52 now. And this was a few years ago, but she quit and she started her own business and is a personal trainer and making her own hours and loving life.
Yeah.
And so that was a big win that, was exciting for me to see her be able to do that. But then there's this other client. This is really recent, and this one has really been on my heart. She came to me because mostly she was interested in understanding this work and understanding spirituality, and she was very curious. I do get a lot of people who are just curious, but she told me recently that she has a 14-year-old son, and they had a fine relationship. They got along, and he would pass through the living room and say, "Hey mom," or whatever, but she didn't feel super close to him. And since doing this work, her relationship has transformed with him. They've become so close. She recently took him to Las Vegas for hiking, and it was spring break. And she said they were walking down the street and he held her hand. And just the relationship is amazing and beautiful. And she's so excited that that happened now at this age, because he's so close to being where he'll, leave the nest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so it's things like that. When you become aligned with who you are, know yourself as this divine being with this immense power flowing through you, everything in your life, all areas, health and wealth and, the job, the relationships, everything just sort of starts to fall into place, because it all starts in here.
And that's the true power of that, just like the woman who wanted to, shift careers. Wherever you go, there you are. And so if you run away from something, it just follows you, different faces, different places. It's the same thing, and you got to redo the thing. But when you love where you are, same with weight loss. I mean, you have to like love your physical body as it is, like love it
Right.
and love that it's functioning, and and love that, focus on food that you love and that loves you back, and activity that you love and loves you back. And it's, but when we punish it and abuse it and like torture it, talk smack about it, it just kind of keeps us stuck in a perpetual, like, not good. I don't know what you call it, but
Yeah.
not good,
Yeah.
not good results. And so it really is true. And I think that's where you and I vibed and aligned so well. And I think one of the things that you said when you came was like, I found my coach, like I found my mentor, because usually if you're going to a business coach, it's the, sometimes there's like a bro code or whatever. I don't know. Like there's like a
Yeah.
different way of, they'll teach you. I remember when I was putting my health coaching practice together, and so I was learning sales, and this guy's like, we'll teach you how to do these calls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never want to do that to a human being. Like, it's like, no. And so, like, knowing that there's another way around it, and then you're going to align with the people that you're meant to serve, And so we have some amazing, great men in our community. But it's like you don't have to do it like everybody else is doing it. Do
Mhm.
it your truth. There's a reason you went through whatever you went through, and there's a way to take that and then now pave the way and make it easier for others. And I think the reason you get such tremendous results and the reason and so many glowing testimonials and people who just like want to follow you around and do whatever do, like they're like, I want in, um is because you're speaking your truth. It's alignment, it's getting to the root, it's transformative, and it goes beyond the spoken word. And it's like, and so that was the thing that you struggled with before, is how do we capture it into what it is that you do. And I think you've done that beautifully here. It's really about knowing that the issues are in the tissues, and so helping and know that we are not just physical bodies. That's only a part of the story. And if we don't address the larger part of who we really are, and if we don't get alignment with who we really are, well, everything else is just kind of band-aids, and we're not really going to get the results that we're looking for. And you're like just phenomenally talented at this. You've been doing this for a long time. You're masterful at what you do. You're a phenomenal teacher as well. Like, people love hearing from you. And if people are looking to connect with you, which I highly recommend they do, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Well, my website is genergycoach.com. So my business is Genergy, Gen Energy. Um, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but really I have the most followers and the most fun on TikTok. I never thought I'd be on TikTok. There's a big spiritual community on TikTok, and I do a lot of teaching on TikTok. So if you're curious about even some of the things I said and you want to know more, hear me talk more about that, that's a great place to do that.
And on TikTok, what's your
It's Genergy, or I am Genergy.
Okay, so
I
look
always
up
forget.
Genergy with the J,
Yeah,
Genergy
with a
with the
J.
J, and I absolutely could talk to you forever. Any message that you want to share to people who are listening who might be stuck, either in two ways, either because they're like not sure if they should bother to try to do this coaching practice in the first place, or not sure what to do with their life or their exhaustion and no hope. Any message that you have for them?
Well, yeah, I have a couple messages. You said something earlier, and I wanted to say this is that if you're not having fun, what's the point?
Yeah,
Life is supposed to be fun and feel good. And
yeah,
I'll sometimes have people look at me like, what do you mean, Jen? Like,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I know that's available for everybody. No
yeah.
matter what you're doing, I know it's possible to be having fun and to be enjoying your life. And that's what you came for.
Hmm.
Your soul came to have this human experience, this life on the planet, and for it to be a great adventure. And it can be for everyone. And I also understand how somebody would say, but you don't get it, Jen, my life is so hard. And that's just because I believe, because of that disconnect and not truly knowing who you are.
Yeah, yeah,
So my best advice is find stillness every day, because all the power is in the stillness. And actually, stillness is what propels us into that next exciting thing in our life. We tend to be so in our heads and so busy all the time that we've disconnected from those moments of stillness.
yeah.
So, even a few moments of just being with yourself and observing what's going on in the inside can really do a lot of good, and can then guide you to knowing what the next step is, because we have a deep knowing that we just tend to not be so connected to.
So true. And, going with the flow. And you'll hear me say all the time, your number one job is to feel good. If you feel good, you're going in the right direction. And then it's a
Mm-hmm.
matter of trusting that. Because at the beginning, or getting over, some of us might be struggleaholics. Like, if we weren't struggling, we wouldn't know what to do. Where's our next struggle?
Yeah.
And one of my mentors a long time ago is like, your success would contradict your need. Your easy success would contradict your need to struggle. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh. Yeah. I know that's right. And so that's
Yeah.
where it's helpful to have an extra pair of eyes on the situation, someone who's in the know. And so I just want to thank you so much for being here and sharing this. And I highly encourage you guys, you have to get to know Jen. She's absolutely fantastic. And if you are trying to figure out, okay, what is my niche? How do I package? How do I articulate what I do so that I can start to attract clients and I can start to also have my six-figure practice or really making a difference, really making an income. I'm going to direct you to this next video to have a listen. So with that, thank you so much, everybody, and have a fantastic rest of your week. Be good for you.